Hey guys, today I just wanted to talk about making opportunities for yourself. It's not going to be easy, but you have to put yourself out there in ways that you haven't in the past. You have to change something. I was talking about this in one of my recent videos. And for me, making my opportunities, I recently started going out and just interviewing random strangers. I have a group of questions that I wrote down in my notebook. It's about 13 questions. And just today, I just started this. Went out, started asking people, random strangers, went up to the coffee shop. I was just in there reading the Bible, and then the book I'm reading right now, it's The Servant by James C. Hunter. And it basically is just a book on leadership, but that's besides the point. But I went to the coffee shop, I was just reading, and I had these questions written down. I was asking my family members and stuff, and I was like, why don't I ask strangers? The more advice that you can get, the better. And I'm not very much of a social person. You guys don't really know me at all, but, well, some of you don't, but I'm not really a social person. I usually stick to myself. I like reading, I like being at my house, I like being, with my family. And so putting myself out there, just asking those questions to these random people, it was just something that really helped me. And I'm not doing it for anybody else but me. I'm not posting these things online. I'm not doing none of that. I'm just trying to learn from other people and see where other people are at, and certain mistakes that they've made in life, and just how can I avoid those. I'm just going around interviewing people, just probably how you see online, just people going around and just ask people questions. And that's one of the biggest ways to build confidence, because I'll tell you right now, I got plenty of those. I got plenty of people that just scoffed me off. I got plenty of people. I got kicked out of the grocery store because I was asking these people. I asked like 3 people, and then I already got a complaint, and the fucking grocery store officer kicked me out of there. Tried to say like I was just harassing people, and it was like, all right, whatever. I get it. I understand. Whatever. I'm not trying to be that guy. I just want to do these things for myself, and I just want to grow myself. And it's completely okay to put yourself out there and get these no's. I asked about 6 people just today, and 4 of them said yes, which is like shocker, man. I would have never thought I would have been that person out there interviewing and asking these questions. Like I said earlier, I'm not posting it. It's just for me, my own advice, and just taking it in, because it's good. And one of the people that I asked was actually he was a business owner. His name was Tim Kruger, Peak Performance, right off Cass Street on Omaha, Nebraska. And he seems like a really solid dude. And I never got to connect with very many business owners before. And I got his contact just like that. I had a 15-minute conversation with him, asked him 13 questions, talked to him, and literally got a contact business owner. So now whenever I got certain questions about business, I can ask him. I already got these people because I went out and I made these opportunities for myself. You have to be willing to go out and do things that you aren't comfortable with. You have to be willing to put yourself out there in different ways that you haven't in the past. And I'm telling you, it will pay off. You have to figure out what's right for you and what's the best situation for you. But if you're doing the right things consistently, it will pay off. You will get your goals. You will get whatever you're searching for in life. You just have to consistently be moving towards that every single day. And I'm not just talking about, thinking about it. No, you have to go out there. You have to act. You have to take time out of your day and put that effort in. Nobody's going to do it for you. No, everybody can tell you what you need to do. But a lot of these people get stuck in analysis paralysis. I was one of them for a long time. I just sat at home watching videos and learning all the things I need to do, but I never took action on them. And it's time to take action. It's time to put in that work, and it's time to put in that effort to where you see the fruits of your labor. And it's going to be slow. It's going to be a slow process. I'm very thankful for the way that today went. Yeah, I got some no's, but hey, man, I actually ended up, talking to some people, and that's 66% of the time I was getting a yes. And I never would have thought that would be something that I'm doing. All it takes is just taking that first step and pushing yourself a little bit farther than you are now. All right, for those of y'all that want to know the questions, number 1, where would you be today if you felt no fear of failure throughout your life? In other words, where would you be today if you knew there was no dream that was too big to accomplish? Question number 2, who would you be if you knew that's who you'd stay forever? Whether that's a personality trait, whether that's a job position, whatever that may be, who would you want to be? Number 3, if there's one thing that you could change about anybody else's life but yours, what would it be? Question number 4, what is enough money? For me, that's a hard one. Some people, I got a couple different answers. Some people were saying, well, there isn't enough money, and some people were just saying whatever makes you content, whatever you can live off and be happy with. Question number 5, where did little you see you growing up as / into versus what you did, and how does that make you feel, and why does it make you feel that way? That I'm just saying, like, about the 10-year-old self, the 8-year-old you. What did you dream about? What did you see yourself growing up into versus what you actually did, and how does that make you feel? Question number 6, what do you think success is? Some people, success is just, having a happy family, being financially stable, and being able to go on like 2 vacations a year or something like that. For other people, success is, owning a business. It's really just up to the person. All right. Question number 7, what things / actions or lack thereof is holding you back from your full potential? And I've got a lot of interesting answers on that one. Some people say it would be laziness. Some people would say it being content with life. Some people would say they don't even know what their full potential is, so they can't even answer that question. It's definitely an interesting one. All right. Question number 8, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Some people just said my reflection. Other people, describe personality traits. It's really just up to the interpretation and, how you see those things. Question number 9, what are your worst habits and why do you justify them? That's definitely an interesting one, and, just definitely a good thing to ask yourself, because you always need to be changing and you always need to be growing. Question number 10, what are things you've always wanted to do but never have, and why haven't you? The most common answer I get for that one is travel. Motherfuckers love to travel, and it's expensive to travel, so most people don't get to travel as much as they like to. Question number 11 is, what is the thing you fear the most in life? Most people said being alone, and that's a big one. For me, I enjoy my alone time. I enjoy my solitude, but I definitely need that social life, with my family. I enjoy seeing my family and talking to my family and my close friends. It's definitely much needed in my life, so I can understand now. And then I thought I would get it a little more goofy, ask a little more goofy question, because my last question is kind of a little pressure. Alright, question number 12 is, if you could be invisible for 24 hours and you could teleport, what would you do? Most people said travel the 7 wonders of the world. I actually had one guy, it was a very interesting answer. He said he would go to the government, the deep state government, and like go to the Pentagon, see what's good with the Pentagon, like the White House, see what people are really doing, and like just go into the deep state and really figure out what's going on, and I really like that answer. Alright, and then question number 13, if you had to say your last words right now, if any at all, what would they be? And most people would just say I love you to their families. Most people would just say it was a good run and don't be sad. That's the most common answer I got for that one. But yeah, those are the questions, and that's what I was interviewing. I was walking around interviewing those people, and just getting some quick questions from them and their quick answers from them. And yeah, it it was just really nice, bro. It was a good day. You know, I put myself out there, and you know, I woke up this morning, I had no clue I was gonna do that. You have to be ambitious. You have to take those risks, and you have to do things that you weren't doing yesterday. And that shit made me more confident. It made me realize that we held back from so many connections because we let our social anxiety get the best of us. And we could have so much more in life if we just went and tried to connect more. You know, so that's the one thing. If you could take away anything from this, it's try to connect more, try to see, you know, people more, try to have as many conversations as you have with people. Try to learn and take in as much as you possibly can. All right, appreciate y'all watching, appreciate y'all listening, very much appreciated. You know, if you guys want to see more of this type of stuff, or if you just want to come along with me for my journey, I'll be here. You know, just like, subscribe, there'll be plenty of more to come. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, much appreciated. I appreciate every single last one of you. Thank you. Bye for now.